Now that we have an understanding of the equations for exponential functions, let's analyze their graphs. The graph to the right shows f of x equals 2 to the x power here, and g of x equals 1/2 to the x power here. How are the graphs of f of x and g of x related? The y values in the graphs of f of x and g of x are reciprocals of each other. The graph of g of x is also a reflection of f of x about the y-axis. So here we see that these y values are reciprocals. So 1 over this will give you this. 1 over 4 gives you 0.25. The graph to the right shows the family of exponential functions in the form y equals 1 times b to the x power. Which points do the functions have in common? Which exponential functions are increasing? Which are decreasing? The functions all have the same y-intercept, 0, 1. f of x equals 2 to the x, h of x equals 4 to the x, and m of x equals 8 to the x are all increasing. You can see that those are these three that start over here on the left and go up to the right. And g of x equals 1/2 to the power of x, k of x equals 1/4 to the x power, and n of x equals 1/8 to the x power are all decreasing. They all start up here on the left and go down to the right. There are two kinds of exponential functions: exponential growth, when the function increases from left to right, and exponential decay, when the function decreases from left to right. Which functions are exponential growth? Which are exponential decay? Explain how the value of b can be used to determine whether the function is exponential growth or decay. You'll have exponential growth when b is greater than 1. So that's these increasing functions here. F of x equals 2 to the x, 4 to the x, and 8 to the x. If b is between 0 and 1, you'll have exponential decay. So like these graphs here, we have 1/4 to the x, 1/8 to the x, and 1/2 to the x. The functions shown in the graphs to the right are written in the form y equals a times b to the x. Explain how the value of a affects the y-intercept in each graph. The y-intercept is always 0, a. So for example, we have m of x here, which equals 4 times 2 to the x power. Therefore, the y-intercept will be 0, 4. We have determined that an exponential function with base b is f of x equals a times b to the x, where x is the variable, a and b are real number constants, a does not equal 0, x belongs to the set of all real numbers, b is greater than 0, and b does not equal 1. The y-intercept is 0, a. If b is greater than 1, then the function shows exponential growth. If b is between 0 and 1, then the function shows exponential decay. Can we determine the domain and range of an exponential function? The domain of an exponential function is all real numbers. So that's going to be from negative infinity to positive infinity. The range will be from 0 to infinity, but it won't include 0. All of these lines get very close to the x-axis, but they never touch it. So we'll have a range that goes from 0, but not including 0, all the way up to positive infinity.